Hello. It's been a little bit. Sorry. I haven't talked about the books I've been reading for a while because I struggle at life, but I'm doing that today. Recent reads, yes, should be fun. Books 61 through 65, I think, is the number. I could be wrong. The first book I will be talking about today was a buddy read with Jess from Rebel Reads, who is awesome, and her dog is also awesome. Go subscribe if you have not, because they're both awesome. We read Under the Dome by Stephen King. 1,072 pages. Yes, 1,072 pages is the length of this monster. I like to refer to it as my go-to weapon because look at it. Look at it. Anyway, back to the book. I don't know if I'll be able to hold this for the entire duration that I speak about this because it's heavy. Under the Dome is the story of Chester's Mill. Out of nowhere, this town is cut off from the rest of the world by this mysterious invisible dome. As the days pass and the attempts at freeing themselves from this dome fail time and time again, the hope these people have begins to falter, as well as maybe their humanity. Panic, destruction, hysteria, and death soon follow. This story has been done time and time again. Take a group of people, isolate them, then take a step back and enjoy the show. Maybe grab some popcorn. That you could do that. These people are bound to snap and destroy each other. This book is so heavy. If you're interested in the story because of the dome, where it came from, who's behind it, the master plan, maybe don't read this. The reveal and the ending of this book may disappoint you. It's predictable, at least for me it was. I called this from the beginning. And with saying that, I would say that the big villain of this story isn't the dome itself, it's the people. The people are their own villain. Did you see that coming? I didn't. But seeing the self-destruction of these people was so interesting, and that's why I couldn't put this book down. I would say this is more of a character study of these people. Even though I enjoyed it, I don't think it necessarily did it well or great. It did it fine, but there are other books that do this a lot better in a shorter amount of pages. This book is massive and I don't think it needed to be this long. This only takes place over a couple of days, so the fact that this is this size, a bit too much, maybe. I don't want to make it sound like I hated this book. I didn't. I actually really enjoyed it. It was very fast-paced. I couldn't put it down, but it wasn't amazing. It was one of those in-between books. Not great, not bad, meh. I don't know if I would recommend it. If it sounds interesting to you, pick it up. If it doesn't, don't read it. I don't know. After that, I read Two Solitudes by Hugh Maclennan, recommended by Chippy Cup. I call Amy from the dusty bookshelf Chippy Cup. Don't ask me why, but go subscribe to her if you haven't already. Two Solitudes is a must-read can-lit classic that I'm happy I read, even though it made me realize how little I know about Canada. I don't know much about anything, really, so whatever. The book takes place around Montreal and Quebec just before the beginning of World War I and ends just as World War II is about to begin, I think. There are so many layers and so many things going on within this book, and it seems that all of this is revolving around two solitudes, as the title would tell you. You have the French and English Canadians, one completely set in their ways, the other completely pushing for change. At this time, the whole world is on a brink of change. You know, Canada's no exception. But do they take that leap forward or not? I think it's safe to say they obviously do, but this is the story of how that happens. Our main character of this story, Paul, he seems to be struggling with his own identity and where he wants to go from here, just like Canada at this time. Being of both French and English roots, Paul within the story is struggling to find out where he belongs. A beautiful story, really bittersweet, wonderful drawn out characters. My favorite character of this book was probably Captain Yardley, a wonderful seafaring person, and I think it's obvious that he would be my favorite. I really recommend this book and I will be reading more from this author. I've already got another book waiting on my shelf. It's gonna be great. And then I read American Psycho by Bret, Easton, Ellis. American Psycho is one of those books that you read and then you just kind of stare at the wall and think about stuff for a bit. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. This book is unlike anything I've ever read before. I don't know if there's anything else like this out there, so for what this book is and what it pulls off, I would say in its own right, it's a work of art. A terrifying work of art, but a work of art nonetheless. What is American Psycho about? What is it really about? That's what I kept thinking while reading this. I don't even really know what I think it is still. I mean, I don't think it's about a serial killer or this character study. I saw this as a satire on the moral and cultural decline of our society that just seems to value materialism and consumerism. The characters of this book felt like machines of materialism and consumerism and such. No emotions, no feelings, just these puppets dressed up in designer suits that almost seem to, I guess, reflect this emotionally empty world that this takes place in. So American Psycho or Psychotic America? That was stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. I like this book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. Go. And then I read The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. I do not have a physical copy of this book. I read it on the Kindle app. Yeah, that's what I read it on. So picture will be here. This was another buddy read, a buddy read with a giant group of people. It was a lot of fun. After we read it, we watched the movie, which was also a lot of fun. I want to say everyone is familiar with The Exorcist, but if you're not, it's about a demon possession of a 12-year-old girl. The story spends a good amount of time explaining other psychological aspects that could be causing these symptoms as opposed to demon possession. We see this mother who's not religious slowly having to put her trust on this priest after all help from doctors seemed to be giving little to no help at all to her daughter. And then we have this priest, Damien, who he himself is also dealing with his own personal struggles, mainly revolving around his faith. This is a chilling, frightening, and heartbreaking story. And I don't mean it's frightening because it's about a demon possession or that it's a horror novel, but more so about how engrossing this story is about these people that are battling with their state of mind. You have this shaken bond between this mother and daughter, and you see this mother just slowly start to just break down because she can't do anything to help her daughter. And then you have this priest with this huge guilt hanging over him. You're rooting for these characters and you want them to succeed and live, but you're also terrified at the outcome of this story. And the outcome of the story is heartbreaking. I really enjoyed this. The book is great, the movie's great. If you haven't read or watched, I highly recommend both. The last book that I will be talking about for this video was The Long Hard Road Out of Hell by Marilyn Manson and Neil Strauss. I've said this time and time again, but Marilyn Manson used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. Why? Well, as a kid, he kind of looked terrifying, didn't look like the nicest human being. That was just what little Erika thought. Of course I was wrong, he's not this scary human being that I used to think. But I've always been interested in him. I've always wanted to read this book, so I finally did that. Honestly, I didn't really enjoy this book. There were bits and pieces of this that I did really enjoy. There was this line that I remember liking. Most of the time I wasn't interested in inflicting pain on myself and others unless it was in a way that would make people think about the way they act, the society they live in, or the things they take for granted. There were lines throughout this book like that I really enjoyed. They were really honest, really raw, but for the most part, this book was a little boring. It felt dragged out, and I didn't feel the need to always want to pick it up. I did really like getting to see this side of Marilyn Manson that I wasn't familiar with before. I just don't think it was done the best in this book. But I would say if you are interested in Marilyn Manson and you're a fan of him or whatnot, you would probably really enjoy this. It just wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. I don't know. And that's it. Those were the 5 books that I was going to talk about today, and I did that. So if you've read any of these, leave a comment down below, thoughts and opinions. We could chit chat, all that great stuff. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in another video soon. Hopefully soon. Hopefully. I hope. We'll see. Bye.